Yo, what's good, Team Irish Dragon? Welcome back in. New patch dropping in Pokemon Unite, so let's go ahead and take a look at it so you know what to expect when you hop into the game today. You know how I do things. I haven't looked at anything yet. You're gonna get my real first reactions as I read through them with you. So, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content, and let's get into the patch notes. Alright, so we are getting it today. You guys might have already played on it. You might still be waiting for it to update. We'll see. I'm not exactly sure, depending on your time zone when you're watching this, but new balance patch. Let's go. And just looking at a quick no freaking way. I'm seeing buff Sylveon, buffed Armarouge, buffed Tinkaton, buffed Phalanx, buffed Empoleon, buffed Absol, buffed Eldegoss, buffed Lapras, buffed Skeledirge. The Skeledirge buff and the Absol buff are making me a little bit nervous. Gren nerfed, Desi nerfed, Moltres nerfed, Machamp nerfed, Meganium nerfed, and Articuno nerfed. They're nerfing Meganium again, Articuno again. I'm not sure about the Moltres nerfs. I haven't really played Moltres enough. I always forget, or it's banned and I don't get to play it. But now I'm sad that I'm not going to get to play Moltres in its current state to see how it is, but I am happy now that it's getting nerfed. Maybe I'll actually get to play it one. So let's just get right into the patch here, starting with Sylveon. In the current Unite battles, Sylveon has struggled due to a lack of damage output compared to other attacker Pokemon. Fair, but it is still a level 4 evolution with a level 8 Unite with, you know, a little bit overpowered evolution, but let's continue. Often losing in direct confrontation, to ensure it can perform effectively as an attacker, its move damage and cooldowns have been adjusted. Additionally, the special attack and special defense stats granted by its ability have been increased to give it an edge in prolonged battles. Okay. Ability, Pixelate. Let me just scroll this down a little bit here, so you guys can kind of see everything a little better. Pixelate. Special attack and special defense increase upon dealing or receiving damage, going from 2.5% increase with a max of 6 stacks to 5% increase for a max of 4 stacks. Okay, so they're doubling the amount total, reducing the stacks a little bit, so it is going to be a fair bit more special attack and defense increase. Cool. Mystical Fire. Damage, 8% increase. Great. Mystical Fire buff. Hyper Voice. Damage dealt when hitting from a distance, 15% increase. Cool. Calm Mind. 1 second cooldown reduction. Alright. I like the Hyper Voice Calm Mind buffs. I would like them to go back to the old Hyper Voice, but that's just the Gen 1er in me, perhaps. I still haven't fully adjusted to the new shape of the cone. I feel like I was better at the older range of Hyper Voice, but I like to see them buffing the Hyper Voice Calm Mind. Mystical Fire, it's okay, but you know, point and click. You don't get to really aim or pick your targets. So I guess increasing the damage does make sense for that one. Next up on the list, another Pokemon that I think is just underrated overall and is still a lot better than people think it is. Armarouge. As a Pokemon that excels at dealing damage while utilizing its durability, Armarouge's shield capacity and move damage in close to mid-range combat felt slightly underwhelming. I'll give you that. To help it better leverage its unique characteristics in battle, the damage and shield amounts across its moves have been increased. Okay, cool. Armor Cannon. Damage, 8% increase. You guys know I like that Final Flash. Fire Spin has a 1 second cooldown reduction from 8 to 7 seconds with a 10% increase to the shield amount. Cool. Hold on a little bit for you. Flame Charge. Damage, 30% increase and a shield amount for a 10% increase. Fire Spin Flame Charge still felt pretty good. I don't know that you necessarily need the damage increase on Armarouge, but I do really like the shield increase. And of course, the Unite move getting an 8% damage increase as well makes me feel like Armarouge is about to be returned to his place in the meta. Next up, Tinkaton, another Pokemon that I do think could do for a bit of a buff. Let's see how they decide to go with it. While Gigaton Hammer deals immense damage when fully charged, its damage output when charged only briefly was insufficient, making it difficult for Tinkaton to perform effectively in various situations. You mean like almost every team fight where it gets bursted down before it fully charges the Gigaton Hammer? You're right, certain situations. Or various situations. To allow for more flexible performance in Unite battles, the damage of Gigaton Hammer before being fully charged has been increased. Additionally, its ability and Unite move have been strengthened to facilitate better coordination with allies and make it easier to share its advantage with the team. Cool, because Tinkaton has a terrible Unite move. Ability, Mold Breaker. Max attack increase stacks when landing a boosted attack or move on an opponent team from 60 to 100. Okay, that's a lot more hammer stacks, which means it's going to get it should mean that it gets even larger range and more damage into the late game. Gigaton Hammer. Damage when charging for 0.5 seconds has a 25% increase. Damage when charging for 1% has an 8% increase. So overall, Gigaton Hammer getting much stronger whether you fully charge it or not. The Unite move, Kiss Bliss Kaboom. That is a great name. Why did I not know that was the name of Tinkaton's Unite move? Duration opponents are left unable to act from 0.75 seconds to 1.2 seconds. Okay. See the sarcastic thumbs up on that one. I am against any increase to stuns and CC in this game, but with Tinkaton having one of the worst Unite moves ever, you can literally Shandy. It's kind of like Shandy. You use it to get away. You really don't press it the second time. I do, because I do like flying up into the air and slamming a hammer down on people, but it's not that great other than the stun. So I guess they're increasing the main reason you even use the Tinkaton Unite move. All right, that's fine. Gigaton Hammer already does crazy damage, but it is really hard, especially late game against a lot of auto attackers, to actually get that damage off successfully. Yes! Phalanx! A Pokemon that, as I've said for a while now, is super underrated. I don't think it's nearly as bad as most players make it seem like it is, but it did basically fall off the map. I don't think anyone really plays Phalanx anymore. I pull it out occasionally, and it's always really fun to play. I enjoy this Pokemon, and I think it actually does a lot more than people think that it does. But let's go ahead and see what they've done to my boy Phalanx. When selecting the moveset of Mega Horn and No Retreat, Phalanx lacked overall durability and damage output compared to other all-rounder Pokemon in the current Unite battles. Agreed! To allow it to fight with greater tenacity, the shield duration and damage reduction effects provided by these moves have been enhanced. Additionally, the cooldown of No Retreat and the energy requirement of its Unite move have been reduced to allow for more flexible switching of formations. Sounds good to me. Mega Horn. Shield duration from 2.5 seconds to 3.5 seconds, so a full second longer of shield. Additional damage, 3% of max HP to 5% of max HP. I already double stacked my Phalanx, so I'm ready for that. Let's go. No Retreat, getting a 1 second cooldown reduction from 5 to 4 seconds, and frontal damage reduction rate from 20% to 30%. So as long as they're facing you in your No Retreat formation, they're going to deal even less damage to you. Sounds good. Unite move, Dust Devil formation, going from 10,000 to 100,000 to 90,000 energy requirement. Cool. We're going to get some more Let's Beyblade moments, and I am all about that. Like I said, Phalanx did definitely need something to be more competitive compared to the other all-rounders, and I like the No Retreat Mega Horn buffs. Honestly, Iron Head and Beat Up is still really good. That's the moveset that I've been going to, even though I was a No Retreat Mega Horn on release, and I'm going to be excited to get back to that and see if we're just going to go back to one-shot poking people with No Retreat Mega Horn. Next on the buff list, Empoleon. Empoleon lacked sufficient damage during close combat, often making it difficult to impact team fights or contest wild Pokemon. To increase its presence on the front lines, the damage of Metal Claw and Whirlpool has been strengthened. That scares me. And the HP recovery of Whirlpool and Hydro Cannon have been increased to support its durability during combat. Didn't we have a basically unKOable Empoleon at one point? I'm worried we're going to get back to that. Again, I also think Empoleon is way stronger than people think it is. It's just not the newest, hottest thing, so people kind of quit playing it. It got nerfed a little bit, and people just threw it away. Metal Claw, 10% increase. Alright, I like Metal Claw. It's not bad. He's not bad. Alright, I'll give it to you. Metal Claw's okay. It could deal with a bit of a damage increase. I'll give you that. Whirlpool, Damage, 12% increase. HP recovery, from 40% of damage dealt to 50% of damage dealt. Recovery amount is halved against wild Pokemon. Okay, cool. That works for me. It's not that much more healing, and you can't just get full HP if you hit somebody with an Altaria spawn there. Alright, cool. HP recovery when upgraded, 50% of damage dealt to 60% of damage dealt, and still halved against wild Pokemon. That doesn't sound as bad as I thought it might be. And Hydro Cannon has an HP recovery, 10% increase. Not bad. I like that they are taking a look and considering the lesser used all-rounders, because I always play these guys and I'm like, yeah, that's the same as a Buzzwole. That's the same as a Blaziken, you know? Like, yeah, alright. Same role. Moltres, for example. When you play against one, you're like, yeah, I'm Phalanx. Me and Moltres are the same thing. So I like that they're taking a look at the less used all-rounders. We'll see what this does to the meta. This one is a little questionable. I think Empoleon, like I said, is still pretty strong, and now it's gotten even stronger. Now we are to one of the two most questionable things from that brief list we looked at a second ago. Absol. Before I read anything, I'm going to go on record and say that every time they buff Absol, we end up in one of the worst, most apocalyptic speedster metas with a terrifying monster that ruins games. So let's see what they did! As the durability of other Pokemon have been buffed overall, Absol, which sacrifices its own durability for overwhelming offensive capabilities, has faced increasingly difficult battles. I will give you that, but it is a burst assassin speedster. You know what you're playing. You gotta play smart, you've gotta watch your timing, and go in when you need to go in. You're not supposed to sit there and engage in long-term team fights. You're the cleanup assassin, dive in, get some KOs, dive out, probably take a reset, and come back in. Whew. To ensure it can slip past the opponent's fortified defenses and pose a significant threat to their backline Pokemon, its burst damage capability has been enhanced. Oh, poor Desi's everywhere. Oh, God. Psycho Cut. Additional damage. 20% increase. Damn. Pursuit. Damage. 8% increase. And the Unite move, Midnight Slash, is getting an energy requirement buff so you can unite more frequently. You know what? I'll say it. Let's just bring back the Fluffy Tail Energy Amp Unite securing Absol, and we'll get every objective. It's going to be great. That Psycho Cut damage increase scares me. The last time they did that was absolutely nuts. I think the Pursuit damage increase is okay. I would like it to be split up more, be like, it'll deal more damage if they're facing you. That way, if you don't get your reset, like not more damage if they're facing you than facing away. Obviously, not what I meant. But to just increase the damage to a facing opponent rather than just an overall damage increase. That way, if you don't get the cooldown reduction, you're not that out of luck, and you can still maybe finish people off if they turn to face you. But Pursuit, I can kind of see it. I'm glad it's not, what is it, Night Slash? I'm glad it's not a Night Slash buff, but the Psycho Cut buff is a bit concerning. And now we're taking a look at Eldegoss. Support love. I'm here for it. I'm told Eldegoss is my least played support. I am not sure if that's true, but it could very well be. So let's see if I'm going to up the amount of time I play Eldegoss. To provide stronger support for its allies during prolonged combat, the HP recovery, cooldowns, and overall supportive capabilities of Eldegoss's moves have been adjusted. Sounds good to me. Pollen Puff. HP recovery, 10% increase. Pollen Puff Plus. Damage reduction rate from 15% to 20%. I love it. Cotton Guard. Going from 10.5 seconds to 9.5 second cooldown. Cool. I've been saying that for a while. Cotton Guard is a really good move, but it is always on cooldown when you need it in team fights. You gotta press it once, and that's pretty much it until the team fight's over, it feels like. Leaf Tornado. Movement speed increase from 55% for a duration of 1.5 seconds to 60% to a duration of 2 seconds. Alright. Leaf Tornado Chasey time. I'm on board. Unite move, Cotton Cloud Crash, HP recovery gets a 10% increase. Fair. I do feel like Eldegoss has fallen off compared to the other healers we have out there. Like Alcremie, especially my boy Sabinicus, the rank 1 Alcremie, makes Eldegoss look like he doesn't heal at all. I still believe in the Eldegoss. I've never given up on it, but I am always here for a support buff when it's needed, and I do feel like this is a good one for the Eldegoss one. And as your resident defender main, you guys know I love playing tank and support, so go ahead, buff Lapras. I'm on board for any defender buffs. I don't care. Even if it is an already OP Blastoise, I'm the one that's usually stuck in defender jail and solo queue, otherwise we don't get one, so yes, make my defenders broken. Let's see what they did. To make Lapras more effective against opponent Pokemon that deal massive damage in a single hit, there's a few, and currently Feraligatr is a real problem. The damage reduction of its ability and the HP recovery of its booster attacks have been strengthened. Sweet! Additionally, Bubble Beam, I am a Bubble Beam believer by the way, and Ice Beam have been buffed to improve its overall contribution to the team as a defender. Let's go! Let's go. Ability, Shell Armor. Damage reduction rate when receiving a single instance of damage that exceeds 10% of max HP from 20% to 25%. It's only a 5% increase on the damage reduction. That could be huge. It's going to be pretty sweet. I'm here for it. Boost attack, HP recovery from 3.5% of target's max HP to 4% of target's max HP. That's also not a very large increase, but it could be the difference in winning and losing a team fight. Bubble Beam, getting a 1 second cooldown reduction from 9 seconds to 8 seconds. And Ice Beam, giving a movement speed increase when standing on ice from 20% to 40%. That's a pretty big increase on movement speed. I like the Ice Beam if I'm playing Perish Song. I like the Bubble Beam as more of a trap setting stun. I like them both. I'll play either one. Every Lapras build is awesome, and I am here for Lapras buffs. Let's go. One. And now, if Absol makes me scratch my head, I'm really wondering how they could possibly think Skeledirge needs a buff. Am I the only one that thinks Skeledirge is incredibly broken? Let's see what they did. Since the duration of the fear effect from Snarl was too short to reliably withstand the opponent's onslaught, its duration has been extended. Additionally, the cooldown of its ability has been shortened to allow it to deal more consistent damage in skirmishes. Ability, Blaze. Cooldown after activation from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. Okay, and Snarl duration, opponents are left in fear from 0.5 seconds to 0.7 seconds. I stand corrected. I do believe that the fear effect of Snarl was the only thing that made me think this Pokemon wasn't super broken, and they're not going crazy with it. This is possibly going to give you the chance to survive more dives, although they are buffing the crap out of the most nightmare dive Pokemon, Absol, so I don't think it's going to matter in the long run. But these are fair buffs to Skeledirge. I don't think it needed any buffs, but these ones that they went with do actually make sense, and it's not going to really increase the overall brokenness of Skeledirge. Now it looks like we're on to the nerfs, starting with Greninja. Cool. Is this going to affect anyone playing lane Greninja? I believe I saw Desi on the list too. Is that going to stop anybody from last picking lane Desi? Also no. But Greninja, I think of the holy trinity of why are you picking that as a last pick in lane, Desi, Gren, Cinderace, I think is probably the one that could do with some nerfing. But we'll see. The strategy of utilizing Water Shuriken and Double Team together to safely deal damage from a distance while recovering its own HP had become excessively strong. To address this, both moves have been tuned down. Furthermore, since Greninja could too frequently dive into the opponent team with its Unite move and secure consecutive KOs using the HP recovery from Surf, the energy requirement of its Unite move has been increased and the recovery performance of Surf has been lowered. Wow! Water Shuriken, 10% damage decrease. Double Team, 1 second cooldown increase from 8 seconds to 9 seconds. Surf getting an HP recovery of 10%, and Water Shuriken going from 90,000 to 100,000 energy required. These are huge nerfs to Greninja. Its entire purpose for being played is kind of being shut down right here. Now, on paper, in my own brain, without actually, doing the math and whatnot, that's doing math now. I was, typing or whatever. Don't question it. Doing math. I was doing my math. Without that, I feel like this is going to make Greninja really hard to play. Especially, again, with that looming Absol buff coming up. I don't think we play Greninja for a little bit, guys. We'll see, though. Next up on the chopping block, Decidueye. Will this stop your last pick lane partner from picking Decidueye when you've already picked an attacker? Probably not. Let's take a look. The combination of locating opponents with Shadow Sneak from outside the vision to reduce their defense, followed up by immediately sniping them down with Spirit Shackle, was slightly too oppressive. A little bit. Therefore, the performance of both moves have been lowered. Shadow Sneak. Opponent's defense reduction from 60% to 40%. Can I just say that a 60% defense reduction is bonkers? It's bonkers. Shadow Sneak Plus. Opponent defense reduction 80% down to 60%. Listen, Shadow Sneak Plus gave an 80% defense reduction to whichever target you find with Shadow Sneak. At the final team fight, that's crazy. I think 60% is still a little bit too high to reduce defense, even though I'm not 100% sure defense and special defense really makes that much difference. However, when you are removing almost all of it, it does probably make a little bit of a difference. So, fair to Shadow Sneak. You're still going to know where they are. You're still going to be able to hit him with Spirit Shackle, and your team should be able to capitalize on it still. It's cool. Spirit Shackle, cooldown from 8.5 seconds to 9 seconds. That's a half-second cooldown increase. We'll see what that means for like the internal cooldown of each arrow. Overall, I don't think it's going to hurt Desi all that much, but please stop last picking it in lane. Now we've reached the Mon that I've probably played the least since it was released, because it's either been banned, or when it's not banned, I forget it exists and I just don't go play it, even though it is my favorite of the original legendary birds, Moltres. With the excellent offensive and recovery capabilities of Heat Wave combined with a powerful burn damage from its ability, Moltres was overperforming as an all-rounder. I agree, because when I did run into it, it was almost impossible to take down, and it usually won team fights. Both the damage and HP recovery of Heat Wave have been adjusted, and the burn damage of its ability has been reduced to better balance its offensive and defensive capabilities. Ability, Flame Body. The damage caused by burning, 20% decrease. Alright. Heat Wave, damage, 10% decrease. HP recovery, 5% of max HP 4 times to 4% of max HP 4 times. That isn't huge, but it could be a lot. Now maybe people will stop banning Moltres and I'll finally get to learn how to play this thing. Next up, Machamp. Well, it's very short and I already read what's being done, but I'm going to pretend I didn't. If this is anything other than submission, I'm going to be upset, because Dynamic Punch Close Combat Machamp doesn't deserve to be hurt in any way. Let's read. For a move that allows Machamp to approach opponents while being completely immune to hindrances and reliably secure a KO and steal every objective, the cooldown of submission was too short. Therefore, the cooldown of submission has been extended from 8 seconds to 9.5 seconds. That's a pretty big cooldown increase, and I'm okay with it, because like I said, and you guys should know, I'm an OG Dynamic Punch Machamp believer. Submission is fun if you want to go run around the map and mess with people, but I'm glad to see it's getting nerfed and that they didn't nerf Dynamic Punch and Close Combat. In fact, I would like to see a little bit of a buff to Close Combat, maybe. Give it a little bit of the Lucario effect, give a little sustain into it. That'd be cool. But this is fair and totally warranted. 1. And honestly, no surprise, Meganium. While possessing high durability, Meganium's ability to simultaneously apply wide area hindrances and debuff opponents with its Unite move provided an excessive level of stability in combat. What? You mean that Infinite Unites was crazy work? We didn't see that coming. To bring its overall impact in Unite battles to a more reasonable level, the HP recovery, cooldowns, and hindrance effects of its moves have been reduced. Synthesis. HP recovery the second time when move ranges overlaps with 50% decrease. I don't think Synthesis needed all that, but fair. Petal Blizzard. Cooldown from 6 seconds to 7 seconds. Fair. Grass Knot. Damage 20% decrease. Yeah, man, when you're rooting people to the ground, it shouldn't deal that much damage. It shouldn't. It's a support. It locks them in place. It shouldn't also be able to, like, one-shot people. Alright? Fair. 20% decrease. Unite move. Full Bloom Aroma. Opponent's damage reduction from 50% to 10%. Okay. Here's my issue with that. I don't think the damage reduction is the issue with its unlimited use Unite move. I think the damage reduction was like a really good reason to play Meganium. And sure, nerf that a little bit. But again, we're talking just almost infinite Unite move charge. So maybe rethink that a little bit more. And finally, yet another nerf to Articuno. Articuno's ability to easily secure an early game lead with basic attacks that apply powerful slows and deal significant damage was too strong. You don't say. Therefore, its basic attack damage has been decreased. Additionally, since it could too frequently apply wide area hindrances, leaving opponents with almost no room to approach, the cooldown of Blizzard has been extended. Yes. Basic attack, damage 20% decrease, and Blizzard gets a 1 second cooldown increase from 8 seconds to 9 seconds. As a defender main, who just talked about, yes, let my defenders be and stay broken, I am okay with the Articuno buff. Or, I mean nerf. The Articuno nerf. It is incredibly difficult to play against, especially with a multi-freeze comp team. Which brings us to the bug fixes. The bugs we probably don't even know are there, but let's take a look. The following bugs have been fixed. Fixed a bug where landing Payday from a certain distance on an opponent team Pokemon would not increase the recently dealt damage count for Feint Attack. I didn't know about that one, but I also haven't been playing Meowth much. Fixed a bug where the HP gauge would disappear when Typhlosion activated its Unite move while spectating. Okay. Fixed a bug where the Master Zero rewards for Ranked Match Series 36 could be obtained without reaching Master Rank. That is a huge issue right there. I'm telling you, now that that bug is fixed, Unite is saved. But all jokes aside, guys, be sure you head to the comment section. Let me know what you think about all the buffs and nerfs, what you're excited about, what you're terrified for, and of course, what you think they overlooked, could have put in this, but didn't. And of course, I will catch you guys in the next one. Keep living the dream.